You guys want to hear a joke?
Yes.
You want me to tell you a joke?
Yes, please.
Well, too bad, because April's going to tell you a joke.
Yay.
Okay. There was this Cheerio. And he worked at the Cheerio box. You know, he had a good life. He loved his life. But there was this girl Cheerio, and she was a frosted Cheerio. And he liked her a lot. And, you know, he really wanted to ask her out, but he was a shy guy. But one day he finally plucked up the courage, and he walked right up to her and he said, "Okay, I really like you. Will you go out with me?" And she was like, I can't. I'm a frosted Cheerio. And you're a regular Cheerio. And it just, you know, it wouldn't work. And so he was just so depressed. He came to work the next day, and he was just slacking, he was dragging, and he couldn't do any of the work, so his boss came up to him. He was like, "Okay. What's wrong? You've been really, really upset today. I want to know what's going on." And he was like, "I asked out this girl Cheerio, but she said she couldn't go out with me because I'm not a frosted Cheerio." He's like, "Okay, tell you what, you work really, really hard today. I'll promote you to Honey Nut Cheerio." And he gets so excited. He's like, "Okay, I'm going to work so hard." He gets all of his work done. He gets it done really, really fast, and he's just the best worker today. And he's like, "Okay, I'm going to promote you to Honey Nut Cheerio." And he walks up to the girl. He's like, "Hey, I'm a Honey Nut Cheerio now. Will you go out with me?" And she was like, "You're still not a frosted Cheerio. I'm sorry, I can't go out with you." And so, you know, he gets real depressed. He doesn't even come to work the next day. He's just sitting on his couch getting all sad. And so his boss comes, you know, calls him. He was like, "Hey, you didn't come to work today. What's wrong?" He was like, "She rejected me again, and I can't get this girl to go out with me." He was like, "Okay, tell you what. You work really, really hard this week. I'll promote you to Chocolate Cheerio." And so he gets super happy. And he works all that week. He gets everything done perfectly. He's just the best worker that week. And then he gets promoted to Chocolate Cheerio. And so he walks up to the girl. He's like, "Hey, I'm a Chocolate Cheerio now. Now will you go out with me?" And she was like, "You're still not a Frosted Cheerio. I can't go out with you. I'm sorry." And then he's just really, really depressed. Now, he doesn't come to work for a week. He's sitting in his living room. He's got a gun on the table. He's ready to end his Cheerio life. And his boss comes to his house. He's like, "What's wrong?" And she was like, "She still won't go out with me because I'm not a Frosted Cheerio. I just don't think there's anything I can do." He's like, "Okay, you worked super hard this month. I will promote you to a Frosted Cheerio." He gets super happy. And he...
Good.
He goes to work. And he works so hard that month, he gets promoted to Frosted Cheerio. And he walks up to this girl Cheerio. He's like, "I'm a Frosted Cheerio now. Will you go out with me?" And she's like, "Okay, I'll go out with you now that you're a Frosted Cheerio." And he's super excited now. He wanted their first date to be perfect. So he decided to take her to the Cereal Bowl. And it's like the most happening club up on the counter, y'all. He's just so happy. He just wants this date to be perfect. But they get up on the counter and they realize the line to the milk bowl is really, really long. And he's like, "I don't want this date to just be standing in line. I don't want it to be a bad date." And so he hops off the counter. He scampers across the kitchen floor. And he goes up to the chocolate fondue bowl, because that's like, you know, one of the best clubs up there. And so he looks up and he realizes, oh no, there's like a really huge line to this club too. So he jumps off the kitchen table, down onto the chair, across the floor, back up on the counter. He's like, "There's a really long line for the chocolate fondue bowl." He's like, and she was like, "Oh, it's okay, it's not your fault." He's like, No, I'm going to find the best club for us to have our first date in. I'm going to make sure this is all perfect." So he hops off the counter. He scampers across the floor. He's back up onto the kitchen chair, back up onto the kitchen table. He runs across the kitchen table. He jumps over the sink. And he runs all the way to the end of this counter to the punch bowl. And now this is one of the really big clubs. And he's like, "Oh, good, there's no one here." And so he runs all the way back across the counter. He jumps over the sink. He gets up onto the kitchen table, down to the kitchen chair, all the way across the floor, back up onto the first counter. He was like, "Hey, there's no punchline."
They're so stupid.
Oh my god.
I waited 10 minutes to hear that joke. Exactly. You had to wait 10 minutes to hear that joke.
Did you see her face?